Hello, everyone. I want to, thank. I have so many people to thank for the season. It really was an outstanding season. We're all blessed to be a part of this, to be around such a bunch of wonderful athletes and families, and just everyone that supports us. From Ray and Heather that are doing this right here to all of our parents. I am so thankful for everything that you've done. To our two seniors, Carmelo Curtis and Aiden Plant. Thank you. You guys, you did a tremendous job, with your maturity and leading this team. I know you're both in tough situations because of the guys that were playing. A lot of PT, I understand. Melo, was hurt. I don't even know what percent he was playing at. He had a hard time, going up the stairs. And I'd ask him every day. Some days were better than others. I'd see him running in practice. He'd say, "Oh, he looks pretty good today." And some days, it was tough. But God, it's hard to believe I've known Melo since he was probably 5 years old. Knowing his brother and coming through the program and had a basketball in his hands all the time. But thank you, Melo. You handled it admirably. How it all panned out, and you and AP, were the captains of a very good team. And AP, a guy of high character, high integrity. We had a couple discussions throughout the season, and you turned the corner, and I know you made a couple plays late that were, key for us. So, obviously you're always welcome, back with us anytime you want. You come back from college and so forth. But I certainly appreciate, what you did with your integrity and character throughout this entire season. Thanks, boys. This all started, a year and a half ago now, where I just asked the kids, "Hey, you want to go to Florida next year?" And all 10 of them said, "Let's go." So this goes back. This whole process of this season was, like I said, it was a whole year of work, and a lot of you, specifically a lot of the parents, put in a lot of work to get us down to Florida. There's not many schools that have an opportunity to go to Florida. I was just talking about this last night with my high school baseball coach. We're one of three schools from Connecticut to go down, and we here at Griswold, that's the third time that we've been down in the last 8 years or so. So it's a great opportunity for the kids just to go down there and kind of get the season rolling. But with our Florida trip, the kids were very well behaved. That was a first-class organization that KSA Events puts on, and we played supposedly the number one team from Tennessee. And this was, we were right there with them. We were down 7 probably through 3 quarters, and they pulled away late. But it was a great experience for us. That kind of got us going for the season. We came out of the gates with a 5-0 record. I have the book right here to kind of go back and see. And I was just talking to Ray a couple minutes ago. Our first big win was probably NFA. And we would beat a lot of teams that night. I think we made 15 threes, and the energy and the building was tremendous. And, the kids were playing at a very high level. So, that got us going throughout the season. Then we hit a little road bump. We faced a good St. Bernard's team, and then up at Woodstock is a tough place to play. Then, probably game 9-ish or so, we go down and we were taking care of Stonington, and we kind of relaxed. And, Stonington got us. So these are all wake-up calls, for us. And I'm even going to go back. I'm going to go back a little bit. And the guys know what day I'm going to talk about. And that's December 12th, 2024. We had a scrimmage with Portland and Wyndham. And after we played each team a half, we were losing 43-15. So we learned a lot that day that we just can't step on the court without playing. And, I mentioned that every single day throughout the entire season. Then we go on a nice little run. And I believe we're 16-4. And there was a couple of wins in there that were actually incredible. As I think back of the Ledgerd game, at Ledgerd, and a couple tremendous things happened that night. It's the first time in my coaching career I actually called a play specifically for one guy, like every time down the court. And, Caden just kind of, took over, and he's going against a 6'7" kid and then another more physical kid, and it didn't matter who was guarding him. he still puts up, 40 points and 15 rebounds. And then, of course, Nick in the corner, off a Caden assist, and that's the first time. Usually when your alphas have the ball, they're going to try to take the last shot. And Caden had enough sense to, find Nick in the corner, and Nick had a classic finish, and he held it there, and it's something iconic. I think he's going to remember it, as I will too, for the rest of our lives. And then we moved on, and that was a league win. And then we have Montville at home, and another slugfest in overtime, and the ball pops right to Colby, and Colby's in the right place at the right time, puts it at the buzzer, and another division win. So, the not quitting and just playing to the end and playing together, it's something I'm real proud of for these guys. And it was part of, another historic season for us. And as we got it towards the end of the year, playing Stonington at home and down to them, and the winner of that game wins the division. And we pressed a little bit, I could feel the momentum switching, and we made some great plays late, and we took home the division, which is our third consecutive division title. So that kind of got us going into the postseason, and here we go, the postseason. We took care of business at home with Bacon, and then we go down to Ledyard, and Colby just has a tremendous game down there. A player possessed. His stat line was incredible. Some of the things he did, and my talking to a lot of my fellow coaches and so forth, there's not a lot of guys that have 26 points, 10 rebounds, 4 blocks, and 2 dunks in there. Like 5 threes. It was just he just did everything, and it was just a special night for us that got us to Mohegan Sun, which is always a special opportunity. And we get there, and we were smoking there too. Everybody was clicking, and it was a fun night for us. And then moving forward, we get into the state tournament, and that's something that I'll never forget. There's a picture right over there on my wall from our second round game, which is actually the third round because we got a bye. But getting 2 home games because of our season was a bonus as well. So we had 2 tough teams, a Talon team that they had these 2 big twins that 6'3", rugged kids, and they were tough. And we again somehow we're down late, and we pulled that one out. And then of course, the Rockville game is something that was tremendous. Caden fouls out, and I'm in my head, I'm like, oh geez, well, next year's the year. And then what we were able to do there late with Braden hitting the 3 with 12 seconds to go, and the ball bouncing right to Colby off the free throw, and again, the second time this year that your alpha usually throws up a shot, a prayer, and Colby had the sense again to find Braden in the corner, who hit nothing but net, and it set off that wild finish. And what a tremendous feeling it was for everybody. So I know I've mentioned a few players here, but it was a total team effort. We couldn't have done it without what some of the guys did late in the season. Noah coming off the bench and giving us valuable minutes, and what everybody had done. So very, very proud of this group. Every season has some ups and downs. With this one, there was certainly far more ups than downs. And then as it ended, we go up and we play a very good Ellington team. Obviously they finished the year 27-0 and won a state championship, and very talented, long and athletic, and good team. So overall, just a tremendous season. And I just want to, I'll thank everybody at the banquet, but for this, parents, thank you so much. As I said, Ray and Heather, what you've done is absolutely amazing. What these kids have had an opportunity to view throughout the season. It's very professional highlights, and every time I look at them, I'm sure some of those clips I know I looked at 10, 12 times, and the kids probably looked at them 25, 30 times. So we're very